everyone, it's Andrew. So this is going to be a video reviewing and unboxing the Hario V60 pour over set, which is in this box right here. This is the size 01 size, and it comes with the red ceramic dripper. It's a 2-cup capacity. I purchased it on Amazon for about $38 as a different pour over set compared to my Bodum pour over set. Once you open the box, you'll see kind of the contents. On the top, what you'll see is a scoop that's tailored to the size 01 for the dripper, which is pretty nice. And then here's the dripper itself. It comes in this red ceramic design, pretty standard for the Hario V60 design. It'll come with a set of filters sized appropriately for the size 01 dripper. And then on the bottom here, you'll have the actual carafe with a plastic lid. And that's all the contents of the box. We'll look at it in more detail though. So the carafe is about, I think, 250 milliliter capacity. It has this plastic handle that wraps around the top. On the top here is this lid that pops in and out. It's pretty snug there. Easy to get on and off though, but tight enough that it doesn't fall out. And it's about a 2-cup capacity as far as the size. The filters are standard filters, size 01. Pretty standard for Hario V60. You can purchase these online if you need replacements. And this is the actual dripper. So this is the size 01 dripper. It's in the red ceramic design, which is pretty nice and elegant. Make sure you don't drop it because it can break easily. It's got the wave pattern on the top and then the hole on the bottom, which the filter sits into. And then it comes with a scoop that's sized so that you can put enough coffee for the actual filters. When you use the carafe, what you want to do is put the dripper directly on with the plastic part in place. If you don't put that plastic part in place, it'll wobble around and can fall off easily. But what we'll do now is I'll take everything apart and we'll set this up to do some pour over coffee, and I'll show you exactly how to do this at this time. So here's everything you need for pour over coffee. This is the Zassenhaus grinder. I've done reviews on this. I absolutely love this grinder. We'll use that to grind the coffee. I'm using Sumatra blend coffee from Trader Joe's. It's a nice dark blend. I've been drinking this probably about 12-15 years at this point. And then we have everything from the Hario set, the dripper, the carafe, the filters, and the actual scoop. And then for the pour over coffee, we're gonna boil this in the Barista Warrior kettle here, which is a gooseneck kettle. And we'll set this on the stove. So once on the stove, what you wanna do is fill it up, doesn't really matter for this, enough water that you fill up like 250 milliliters. You'll warm up the stove, and this has a built-in thermometer. You can monitor the temperature and get it to about 205 degrees. Once at that temperature, it'll be ready for the pour over coffee. So in the meantime, while you're heating up the water, what you want to do is take the coffee. For this, it's fresh coffee, so you'll take this coffee. I usually do about 2 scoops per cup. Everybody has different personal tastes. There are recommendations for the amount you'll use. But what I'm going to do here is essentially use the scooper for the Hario V60 and put roughly 2 scoops in here. That's just based on personal preference. The nice thing is the Zassenhaus has this lid here. You just open it up and pour the coffee directly into there and then close it, and you can grind it. And for me, I use like a finer grind. So the Zassenhaus, you can kind of raise it all the way to the top and grind it that way. And we'll speed through this as it's grinding just to facilitate speeding this video along. Okay, so now we're getting to the tail end of grinding the coffee. Just finishing that up, and the Zassenhaus is set up so that all the coffee will come out of the bottom into this drawer that comes out. So that's what it looks like. And so now what you'll do, sorry I made a mess here, is grab the Hario V60 and set it up. So you'll put the ceramic dripper on top and then grab one of the filters Just grab a filter like this. I typically wet this, and so what you'll see me do in this video is I wet it with warm water and put it into the top of the dripper, or attempt to. But something I learned with this is the Hario V60 filters, once wet, stick together really easily, and so I struggle here as far as putting it into the dripper. So I'd recommend first is actually putting the filter dry into it, putting some warm water directly into it and setting it up that way. Otherwise it's just going to stick there. But once you have the filter set up, you'll just pour, I use 2 scoops here from the actual container, which is a little bit different. Usually I just pour it directly in with my other setup for pour over coffee. But I have a lot extra coffee here just based on the grind. And so now the pour over set's all set up, and the water's finishing up with boiling. I'm setting up the camera here so that you can see it a little bit more closely. But you'll have to go grab the kettle and start pouring into it. So here's the kettle. It's with the Barista Warrior, it's set up so that you can see the actual temperature. So it's roughly 205 degrees. Initially, what you want to do is just pour and wet the grind, or wet the coffee slightly so that it can bloom. And you'll let it sit there for probably about like 20 to 30 seconds, depending on personal taste, but you just want to run it through and let the coffee bloom. I do it a little bit short here, just based on speeding the video along. And now what you do is you're going to do small circular motions and essentially pour it all the way to the top here. In a controlled fashion, and you kind of do circular in motion, circular out motions, and that's all you have to do. And the nice thing about the Hario V60 is once you fill it all the way to the top, that's about the quantity you need. You don't need anything more than that because it's kind of proportioned appropriately. If you do, you're going to overflow or have too much fluid for this. So just go all the way to the top, take your time, and then what you'll do is just let it run through entirely. Now once you fill it to the top, you just let it run through, which you'll see right here. It's nothing too complicated, it just takes some time. For those of you that haven't done this before, you just have to have patience here. And then the one thing I have learned to do over time is kind of halfway through doing a pour over, I essentially, as you see here, pour along the side slightly just to get the grind or the coffee back into the bottom. I don't pour too much water, but that's all you do there. And let it just concentrate on the bottom a little bit more, and then we'll let this run through all the way to the bottom. And as it's running through, that's all you really have to do. It'll pour into the bottom. You'll have about 2 cups total, and you'll be all set from there. So that's really all I have for the Hario V60. This is a size 01. They make multiple sizes, but this is the pour over set. It's on Amazon for $38. It comes in this red ceramic design. I think it's pretty elegant and simple, especially if you're first getting into pour over coffee. I've used the Bodum pour over coffee for a while, and I've been content with that, but this is a nice step up as far as a easy, nice, convenient thing to do. It's probably easy to bring and travel with if you go camping or something like that. When you don't have electricity, you could just boil the water and do it this way. I do want to recommend being careful with the filters if you wet them. They did stick together pretty well, but the entire capacity is about 1 cup. So if you need to do another pour over, you'll have to make more coffee from there. So if you have any questions, please post them below. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Have a great night, and have a good new year.